While this may not be the coolest bus you've ever seen, because, there are some really cool busts out there, this is probably the coolest base of any bus that I've ever seen. Because sometimes a base is pretty cool too, all about that base. Me, I prefer a base over a bust. What about you? As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, thanks for tuning into the Extreme channel. My name is Mr. X, and today we're looking at a life-size Joaquin Phoenix Joker bust. So this is from the 2019 Joker movie. Now, Queen Studios made this. It is life-size, which means it's the size of a real-life version. And I am stoked to have this in the collection for so many different reasons. Number one, I loved this movie. In my opinion, it's one of the best 10 movies that have came out in the recent years. Now, while it was about the Joker, it didn't really play a lot on Batman, even though it talked about Thomas Wayne, and it took place in Gotham. But nonetheless, I thought it was an amazing movie for other reasons. I think Joaquin Phoenix is an absolutely amazing actor. I mean, he's really a chameleon. You look at him in the movie Signs, and then you look at him in Gladiator, and then in Joker. Just absolutely unbelievable actor. One of the best in our time, in my opinion. And he brought this role justice. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, it wasn't a traditional Joker where he was causing mayhem, even though mayhem was caused indirectly by his actions in the end. Most of it was due to mental illness problems and the fact that he just got shit on all the time. He was really trying to live a good life, but obviously there were some daddy issues, and I'm not going to spoil any more. But absolutely amazing film. You definitely need to check it out. So the reason I bought this is not only due to my love for the film, but I love Queen Studio products. I actually own another Joker bust by Queen Studios, this one right here, but we don't talk about that one that portrayed Heath Ledger because they made that before they got the licenses. So shh, don't tell anybody. But today we're going to review this piece, highly anticipated, very low edition size, and he's finally here in the collection. So a lot of the things that people anticipated about this piece is, one, like I said, it's from a great film. Two, it's actually silicone skin. That's kind of the newer thing in the market. If you're unfamiliar with that, they actually use medical grade silicone. Yes, the same thing they put in other busts. And it gives this realistic look, not only from looking at it, but touch as well. So if you want to feel up these busts, that's okay to kind of see what it's like. However, I do recommend you wear gloves. That's why they give you gloves. I use them to slap other people and challenge them to a duel. Mostly strangers on the street. But the other reason this was highly anticipated is because of the base. They did some things that have never been done before, and I absolutely love it. So we're going to talk all about that in the Extreme review today. We're going to talk about the concept of it. We're going to talk about the design. We're going to do some close-up video of the paint and sculpt. And I am very happy with this piece. So let's kick it off. So we're going to talk about concept first. Now, the problem with this is, we'll talk a little bit more about design, is there's so many cool concepts, I don't know which one to look at. But here at the bottom, you have almost a museum-style base on the outside, and then it's elusive of a building in Gotham. Not only a building in Gotham, but at the front you have a Joker plate. I hate nameplates, but I kind of think it fits here because there's so many elements from the movie. A little street light that's lit up, and then the iconic stair scene from the movie. And you'll see in the back here, you actually see the shadow outline of Joker kind of dancing down those stairs. Then on top of that, at least in the front, you have a few different things going on in here. On the front, you have the bus, which we'll get to in a second. On the back, you actually have a picture of him from the beginning, putting on his clown makeup in his dressing room. I think it was a dressing room, and the mirror of him looking at himself. It's about a 1/6, 1/7 scale figure, if I had to guess. Maybe a little bit smaller. But back to Joker. So he's in his garb. I take it that this is the scene at the very end when he's on the Murray show where he dresses up as the Joker. First time ever he asked to be called the Joker. And then you move up, and it's an interesting expression that they chose. And the more I look at it, the more I like it. To me, this is right before he became livid on the Murray show. He started to realize that, you know what, I'm done being a victim. People are evil, and I am just done with it. So I think they really, really capitalize that well. I'm impressed a lot with it. It's just, it's a weird expression because he looks so serious and he's a Joker, but I almost feel like this was his transition. So I think that's done really well, and I think that ties in with the concept. Really, like I said, an amazing concept that's never been done before. Clearly, it's a 5 out of 5. This base just takes it to the next level. The expression, again, it's so weird, but I don't think I could think of anything better for them to do. So it's still a 5 out of 5 for me. Design, they also did some really good stuff, and I think a lot of this ties into the design, but we're going to talk about some specifics after we look at the unboxing and assembly. A pretty manageable box from Queen Studios, which is typical, with the typical Queen Studios garb. Tiny bit of an art box on top. On the inside there were instructions, not only where everything was laid out, but how to assemble it, which is nice because you'll see this has more pieces than most busts do. Traditional straps in white foam. And then the COA that Queen Studios always includes. You can pause and look at it. So the first layer was just the Joker bust himself. And the second layer was the base and the rest of the pieces. All right, let's get the measurements really quick. The highest point for him is just over 28 inches. And the widest point is about 13 inches or so. And the depth should be the same because it's a circle. Yeah, about the same. Now, as you can see, there are some light up features. Let's look at those. So first, the front here, the lamp lights up and the shadow in the background. So here's the picture without it lit up, and then here it is lit up. And just so you know, to turn that on, the lamp has the battery on the bottom, and then the back battery actually turns on the light up feature back here. So here's a picture of it not lit up, and then here is a picture of it lit up. And the button that turns this on is just right up here, and that also turns on the front. That takes 2 AA batteries. Really, there's no other display options other than you fixing his hair how you want to, because it is real rooted hair, which I'm horrible at because I don't have a good hair game going on. You could remove the display plate right here, but it does leave a nasty gap, so I don't recommend it. So the big disadvantage of the design is there's so much cool stuff on the front, there's so much cool stuff on the back. How do you display it to show it all? You really can't unless it's in the center of a room and maybe even on a motorized turntable that turns, which 99% of people are not going to do that in a collection. So where I'm going to display him, if you want to see what that looks like, check out the Extreme Channel social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. The link for those is in the description below. I'll post some exclusive photos. You're not going to be able to see the back, which is a shame. So I think that's a knock on the design. How could they have done it differently? I don't know. But it's a shame when they do such a cool thing and it's almost impossible to show it. So for those reasons, I give the design a 4 out of 5. Now we're going to look at the paint and sculpt. And to be honest with you, not a fan of this guy in the back. The rest of it, big fan. Check it out. We'll start down at the base with this one. You know, what's funny is the base looks good from afar, but up close, you can definitely tell it doesn't have that fine detail. And you'll see what I'm talking about. But so first you have the exterior of the building here. I like how it's weathered and cracked. It's surrounded by, as we talked about, the small, almost museum-style base on the outside. But I love the graffiti, put on a happy face. Again, more Easter eggs from the movie. The brick looks a little toyish, a little plastic-ish, very much like the stairs here. And while I'm normally not that too concerned about it, simply for the fact that you bought it for this part of it, it is something to notice when you're spending this much money. Again, more graffiti, more cracks. I think that's a nice look to it. And obviously those have to be decals, but they're kind of hard to tell whether they are or not. Now the color variation isn't too much on this, but I think I like that because it really points to the kind of dinginess of the city of Gotham. So here, again, a lot of the same comments about the stairs. Very plastic looking, like there's not a lot of definition in that sheet hanging. And it is 1/6 scale, or it appears to be about 1/6 scale. So I think it would be better. I like the little Easter eggs of this stuff in the mirror, picture of himself right there. You know, I think like when I think about Prime 1 Studio pouches, look way better than this, but this looks okay. The pills and stuff on his table, again, some great Easter eggs. The makeup, look a little toyish, and so does he. So let me pull him out without breaking him here. So likeness clearly on this, not even close. You know, this figure doesn't look the best at all. Now, where I'm going to be displaying him, you won't even be able to see this, but still, I think when you're paying that much, you should definitely get a much better. This looks like a plastic toy. It is not plastic, I can tell you that. It does have some decent weight to it. Be careful, the chair here is pretty brittle. So definitely a miss with that, I think. Now, as I said, you're not going to be looking at that. You're going to be looking at the bust. So first of all, the clothing is fantastic material, high-end, nicer than the clothes I buy. So props to them on that. You can see everything from the clean stitching to the buttons. Really well done. And you can mess with the buttons and the collar a little bit if you want to. But as you move up, let's look at his hair first. I think the hair looks good. I'm going to have to go back and look at the movie. I feel like his hair was frazzled most of the movie. Obviously, when he was on the show, which is assuming this is, you know, the scene he was from, it looked a little bit better. I don't remember if the sideburns were that far down. They probably were. But you see the synthetic skin here. The silicone skin looks fantastic. They did a great coloring choice, I think. Looks like real skin and hair. And, you know, when you talk about it all rooted in, that's what you can see that right there. Now, the makeup looks like real makeup, so I think they did a nice job. They went decently sloppy. I mean, look at the uneven lines around the mouth, and then especially around the nose up here. And the powder white effect looks great. The blue around the eyes. So they did a really nice job on the makeup. Now, regarding his face, there's the eyes. Glass eyes looks fantastic. They look real, of course. You can see the eyelashes on there at the top. The likeness, I think, is very good. As we talked about in concept, it's kind of like when he's on the Murray Show and he starts to realize how mad he is. So it's like that transition face, which I really like because you don't want him too pissed off, like we talked about. So I think they did get the likeness. Some angles are better than others, but I'd say it's pretty damn close. It's not a question that this is the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. So very cool piece overall. A lot going on. You can see how here the makeup was done a little bit different, but remember he did it to himself. I mean, it's a little bit off right there, and like we talked about, you can always put more on. Pretty neat. We'll talk about the paint first. I think, like I said, the paint's phenomenal. It looks real. Another thing we didn't really talk about in design is they actually give you extra makeup. That is crazy to me. So I'm just going to use this for myself and freak Mrs. X out. But in case you ever need it, which is a little worrisome, and they do give you a little instruction book on how to care for it, and of course the traditional Queen Studios makeup brush. And this time you actually do use it for makeup, not just cleaning your statues. But I think the paint, and I include the mixed media clothing on this, is a 4 out of 5. Sculpt, if I take out the back here, so I'm not going to include this because the sculpt on the back, in my opinion, is probably a 2 out of 5. It's just too toyish and amateur for me. Now, granted, I couldn't sculpt it better, so I don't mean to knock on anybody. But if I take that out, I think the sculpt is a 5 out of 5. I think it's done excellent. It's really, really impressive. I definitely see Joaquin Phoenix. I love the brick and stuff on here. So I am a big fan of this piece, which is a good thing because this one cost a lot of money. Now, the disadvantage of buying a silicone piece that the full face is silicone, it costs tons and tons of money. This was over $3,000. That's right, $3,000. Now, the good thing is they only made 199 of these. That is excellent, a very low edition size. Now, I could see a lot of people not wanting this for their collection, simply for the fact that while it was an amazing movie, it's not an action exciting movie like a lot of the other bust pieces they make. But it's an Academy Award-winning movie that addresses something that desperately needs to be addressed with comic ties. I mean, that's pretty cool in my opinion. So most busts with a full silicone face are $3,000 to $4,000. That makes sense. I'm not a fan of ones that have arms on the side. I think that takes up too much room. Although I do have this Wonder Woman right here from Queen Studios. And I do know this is sold out. So I think the value is pretty decent. It's a 4 out of 5. Now, I actually got mine from Spec Fiction. I love to buy Queen Studios products from them. They're one of my favorite retailers. So there is an affiliate link in the description below. If you guys click on that, I make some extra money. You can get on the wait list for this or check out some of their other Queen Studio products. But great customer service. Their shipping on this was really cheap. It was sea shipping, but it was only like 150 or 200 bucks, which is a fantastic deal, especially this day and age. Now, does this have the X factor? Is this a 5 out of 5 statue? I think if I could display it all and you could see the front and back at the same time, yes, it would be 5 out of 5. But because you can't, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Simply for the fact that the pose is a little boring. I think it's really in-depth, but if you just walk by, you're like, hey, that's cool. And you really have to, you kind of miss that extra stuff, especially since I will be displaying him down low. So it's a 4 out of 5, even though I think the paint and sculpt and concept are a 5 out of 5. The X factor is just kind of a, what is it overall? Is it very cool when you walk by it? I think there's cooler ones out there, unless you could see it all at the same time. Then you'd be like, damn, that is really, really neat. I'm tempted to change it out of 5 out of 5 because my scoring scale is subjective. It's whatever the hell I want. Let me know in the comments below. Should it be a 5 out of 5? Throw that down in the comments to help me out. I read every single comment, and also it'll enter you into a chance to win a statue. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. Please check out some of these other videos. If you haven't, hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And if you like stuff like this, make sure to subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.